everybody, and welcome back to the No Nonsense Transfer Show with me, James Alcott, and of course, as always, my boy Flav. We're going to be talking about all the big transfers in this episode and hearing from Fabrizio Romano and Rory Jennings. This show is powered by the guys at Snickers Protein. Remember, there's more protein and 30% less sugar than a regular Snickers. So excited to get talking about the transfers, but there's also another big announcement that we've got to tell the people about, haven't we, Flav?
Yes, next Monday, February the 1st, from 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. Transfer deadline day live right here on Ball Street. Make sure you're here with us.
Absolutely. It's going to be an amazing show. There might be loads of transfers. There might be none. Either way, you can spend the evening with us. Make sure you do. Let's get into it with news or nonsense.
So Thomas Tuchel is in the hot seat at Stamford Bridge, and his first job is getting Kai Havertz and Timo Werner firing again, isn't it, James?
That is correct, Flav. Poor Frank Lampard. We will never speak of his name again, certainly not in this show. Thomas Tuchel, yeah, he's in there. I guess, yeah, that's got to be the remit for him. And, he comes in, he's worked with a lot of the players there, Pulisic as well, at Dortmund in the past. So he needs to get them moving forward. And for a team that made so many transfers in August, and probably that's a big reason why it's not worked out for Frank Lampard. Oh, we did say his name again. There you go. Tuchel, it'd be interesting to see how much money he's got to spend and if anything will happen in this transfer window. A big sort of stumbling point, supposedly, according to a few sources, when it comes to Frank Lampard, was Declan Rice and the insistence of Lampard of wanting to try and get him in. And apparently, Chelsea are still interested in signing Declan Rice, which from a playing point of view, I kind of understand the idea behind it. You've got a lot of midfielders like Jorginho's not really a fan's favourite. Kovacic can drift in and out of games and maybe he's a bit of a different player. Kante gets injured now and again, although I still think he's like a wonderful player. But yeah, I don't see this happening because of the story with Frank Lampard, the old idea that you don't want to bring back an academy asset. What do you think? I don't think he's even a good fit for Chelsea, really.
Yeah, it's nonsense about not buying people back. If they've suddenly exploded or you haven't been able to see their potential, then that's a mistake that you can rectify by buying the player back.
Yeah, I agree
Manchester
with that.
United bought Paul Pogba back, and Juve are going to buy him back again. It's like, I get the frustration of letting a gem go.
Flav, let me ask you this. Hang on a minute.
Yes.
Do they see him as a midfielder or do they see him as a centre-back?
I think they definitely see him as a holding midfielder.
Right, because actually, I mean, if they look to make him a centre back, because I think that was something that Frank Lampard kind of wanted to do with him, then I get it. Then I can understand it because there is a space there.
Do you think that Frank Lampard went, no, we've spent £250 million already. It's an awkward subject. £150 of that, £1 million of that isn't working out for us. Can I have another 60, please, Roman?
Yeah,
that's and in that instance, you might go, no.
Yeah.
I've given you all these toys. Go and play with those. You can't have the new toy. But with Tuchel coming in, if Tuchel coming in and says, we do need this, he's going to have Roman's ear. He'd be within his rights to be able to say, can I have some more money to fix these problems? Whereas Frank Lampard wouldn't have had that opportunity.
Yeah, I will be amazed if this happens in this transfer window. To be honest, I'd be amazed if it happens in the summer as well, because I think Tuchel will have a different kind of profile of player that he's going to be going and looking for. And I actually see Declan Rice going to maybe Man City at some point, because his performances this year as a holding midfielder have been so brilliant. And Rodri's been a bit funny at different times, hasn't always been able to kind of hit the heights. So yeah, here's a bit of inside. You heard it here first. I can see Declan Rice at Man City, not Chelsea. Moving on to one of the biggest stars in world football, Mbappe is considering his future. He's toying with the press. He's putting little sound bites out there talking about what his next project would be. Apparently he's in negotiations with PSG as well. But I think generally people think that he's going to go this summer due to the fact that if they don't get rid of him this summer and we get some cash in return, then they're going to lose him for nothing a year on. PSG, on the other hand, are trying to kind of maybe charm him a little bit with the likes of Leo Messi coming the other direction. But when we focus in, Flav, on this word project, there's lots of transferisms out there, but projects, it feels like it's a new one. Where is the project? What is the project?
I don't think it means anything. It just allows a player to just say something that gives them, carte blanche or freedom to do whatever they want next.
Yeah.
And also, what level footballer? How good do you have to be able to use the word project? Like, if Lee Catmull went, I've just got to decide what my next project is. Yeah. No one would buy it. But Mbappe, it kind of works. Obviously, he's looking at two clubs that have been mooted: Liverpool and Real Madrid. Now, you most of us would think, well, naturally, he would go to Real Madrid. But there's big financial issues in Spain, and I'm not sure how big an extravagance this will be for Real Madrid. Yeah. Liverpool, on the other hand, do have the money. With Premier League money, financially secure the club, and they've got assets to sell in Salah, Mane, maybe. I'm not saying get rid of both of them, but if you're going to have to sell one for Firmino, it might be time to freshen up that front three. It looks a little bit stale at the moment.
Yeah.
So why not bring in someone like Mbappe? They can afford to do it if they move on some of these star players.
I don't know. I look at this and I just think he's a Real Madrid player. I don't see him in a Liverpool shirt. I know this will anger Liverpool fans, but take a breath. Because I think Real Madrid is the one. Because you've got likes of Benzema, who's been there for so long. They're looking for that next jewel in the crown. Hazard's gone there and hasn't overly worked, despite being big money. You're right. Financially, I get what you're saying. It looks like Liverpool is the sort of safer bet in terms of being able to get the deal done. But Real Madrid have always found the money. They've always been able to find the money. And when it comes to being a project, maybe you've got a Liverpool team that has to kind of evolve in a big way, as well as selling a couple of assets. Whereas Real Madrid, he maybe slots in up top straight away, and then they can go on a new run of winning Champions Leagues. Because the good point that is made with Mbappe in terms of it being a project is wherever he goes, he's going there for the next 5, 6, 7, 10 years.
So it looks like Dele Alli might actually be going to PSG for real on loan for the remainder of the season, according to Sky Sports. He's desperate to get away from Tottenham Hotspur and Jose Mourinho. He's been left out of the 2 matchday squads most recently. And yeah, he looks like he's going to get his move, James.
Yeah, I'm fascinated with this one because, I mean, it's been a long running saga. I just hope Dele's all right in all of this because his emotions are going to be going up and out. He's going, then he's staying, then he's going. Then Di Maria's maybe being linked with coming to Spurs, which might be that swap move. So much going on here. They've also been linked with Florian Neuhaus from Bayern Mönchengladbach. But he's someone who's still got a couple of years left on his contract. How do you feel about this as a Spurs fan? I feel like he needs to go for him, but do Spurs want to let him go? What do you think?
They have to let him go because he's of no use to us. Jose Mourinho isn't going to play him. Whatever has gone on between them has been, seems like it's going to be terminal as long as either one is at the football club. What I don't understand is for Dele Alli, it's like a short-term solution, isn't it? He goes for 4 months. It's going to be very difficult typically to settle into a new league. He knows the manager and playing style, so that will suit him. But it just seems like a temporary fix. Like what's his end game here?
Yeah.
Spurs don't want to sell him. He's still on plenty of years left on his contract.
I guess
is he going to wait Jose Mourinho out? I
guess the big thing might be that it's a shop window for England and the Euros if they still happen. A shop window for a move for himself. The way it could go really wrong is you've got people like Julian Draxler still knocking about. You've got so many stars there, Di Maria as well. If those 2 players don't make the move elsewhere, and he is there, he could just be rotting, for use of a better term, in the reserves for PSG instead of Spurs. It's a really tricky one, but it's got to get sorted. It could be a deadline day one, mate. I think this could be a deadline day one.
I mean, I'd be happy with Dele Alli going that way and Draxler or Di Maria coming the other way, just as a temporary fix. So we're not short-staffed, do you know what I mean? So we have players that are of certain quality that will be able to play first-team football. That would be a decent way to solve this problem temporarily.
Right then, you've heard what we've got to say about the big transfer stories. Now let's hear from the main man himself, Fabrizio Romano. Speculation, it has to end at some point, but in terms of this video, it's going to stop right now because we're going to get some actual information from Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio, thank you for joining us once again. Let's get straight into it with something that just keeps rumbling on. And I feel like this is one that's going to go to deadline day just because there doesn't yet seem to be any concrete answers. Maybe you can give some to us. Dele Alli to PSG. Of course, Pochettino is there now. There's been talk about Florian Neuhaus from Bayern Mönchengladbach maybe coming in the other direction, which might facilitate this. But what is the latest on the Dele Alli situation? And do you think he's going to move in this window?
First of all, thank you guys for having me and thank you for the invitation again. And yes, about Dele Alli, the deal is almost ready, I'm told. So Paris Saint-Germain and the player have the agreement, and Paris Saint-Germain and Tottenham would be ready to complete the deal in the coming days. It would be a simple loan without any buy option. So Paris Saint-Germain would sign him on loan till the end of the season. And Dele Alli wants to go. He's really pushing to go just because he's not playing with Tottenham. He wants to have some game time and be back to be a starter. And with Pochettino, obviously, he has an amazing relationship. So between the player and Paris Saint-Germain, everything is ready. And also with Tottenham's side, but the deal will be completed only if Paris Saint-Germain, only if Tottenham will find a replacement for Dele Alli. So in the coming days, the situation of Dele Alli will be clear. At the moment, a big problem for Tottenham is that Christian Eriksen is no longer on the market after yesterday night he scored an important goal for Inter, and Antonio Conte said, we can't sign any player this winter, so no players are leaving the club in the coming days. So Christian Eriksen was in the list as possible replacement. At the moment, it's getting complicated for him. We will see also if Tottenham will try for other players or if it was a strategy to keep Dele Alli till the end of the season. The player is pushing. He wants to go. Paris Saint-Germain are waiting for him. They're waiting only for him. So no other midfielders. Dele Alli is the total priority, but we will see in the coming days because at the moment for replacement is everything quiet around Tottenham.
Okay, yeah, we've got a big deadline day show planned, so it feels like Dele Alli is going to be a key character in that. It feels like it's going to go the whole way. One that maybe isn't going to be totally solved in the next few days, but it's more likely to be a summer transfer, is Kylian Mbappe, and him talking about projects. We were sort of discussing it, me and Flav, but it seems like Liverpool and Real Madrid are the two main suitors for him at the moment. What are the sort of key ingredients to this transfer in terms of who Mbappe wants to choose? And out of those two, who do you think is the front runner at the moment for signing him this summer?
To be honest about Mbappe, talking with people also around the player, his priority is to decide about the negotiation with Paris Saint-Germain because Kylian Mbappe is negotiating with Paris Saint-Germain for a new contract. So we don't have to forget that he's still talking with his club, and the president and the owner of Paris Saint-Germain, Nasser Al-Khelaifi, is pushing to give him a new contract and to keep him also for the future of the club. It's not easy because when you're negotiating with players like Mbappe, it's like signing a new player because you have to pay a commission, a total new salary. So it's really complicated for Paris Saint-Germain, but they are working on it. So they are still in negotiation with Mbappe. About Real Madrid and Liverpool, at the moment, I can't mention any favorite club just because of one thing. We have to remember that we are in a moment where clubs don't know what's going on in the coming months with the stadium, the merchandising, and we always mention it's a complicated situation for top clubs, also like Liverpool and also like Real Madrid. Real Madrid are not in an easy situation at this moment. So It's so difficult for them to plan for a big deal. But if next summer we will be back like in normality, in a normal world and in football too, for sure they can plan for big moves. But at the moment, there is nothing advanced with Mbappe because of this. And it's similar for Liverpool. So Liverpool want to do something interesting next summer, but they are not planning for any incredible move because to sign Mbappe, you would need like more than 150, 160, this kind of money, millions euros to sign Mbappe. So it's really, really not easy. But at the moment, he's still negotiating with Paris Saint-Germain.
Okay. Yeah. Very awkward times, isn't it? It seems like for a lot of these sort of super clubs at the moment in terms of getting that over the line. Maybe something that could save PSG in terms of keeping him there at the club, which would obviously be huge. Moving on to the old manager of PSG, who's now the manager of Chelsea. Bombshell that we were kind of all sort of rumoring about and chatting about, but no one really expected it to actually happen. And then there it is. Frank Lampard is on his way out. But actually, you did say last week yourself, you said it's getting pretty close. He is starting to have the Chelsea hierarchy are starting to talk to people. So with Tuchel through the door now, what would you say his big transfer plans are? Because Declan Rice has been someone that's been in the news in the last couple of days and was so with Frank Lampard. Do you think that Tuchel and Chelsea would want to still look at Declan Rice? Is that one finished? And what are Tuchel's transfer plans?
Declan Rice deal was really related to and linked to Frank Lampard, just because the relationship between Lampard and Declan Rice was so good. Declan Rice had the dream of playing for Chelsea, but in particular with Frank Lampard as a manager. So that's why the situation with Declan Rice was really related to the situation of Frank Lampard. At the moment, what I can say about Declan Rice is it's really, really complicated to sign him for every club. I also see something about Manchester United and this kind of club is complicated to sign Declan Rice in the coming days. I think he's going to stay at West Ham till the end of the season, and they're selling him next summer. About Chelsea in general, with Thomas Tuchel, they made a plan for next summer more than for January, just because they know that signing new players probably would be a problem for Chelsea and not a solution. They had the problems with 10 new players or 11 new players signed last summer. So now assembling a new team was really complicated for Frank Lampard. This was, I think, the main problem for Frank Lampard, having a lot of new players on the pitch and on the dressing room in a season when you're playing every 3 days is really complicated to make a team of top players. You can have top players, but making a team is something different in football. So that's why Frank had problems, and that's why also Chelsea board told Tuchel, okay, let's plan for next summer signings more than last-minute signings in January.
Do you think it would be the same in terms of players out of the door for Chelsea? The fact that you've got a new manager here who probably want to see all these players and see what they're up to and see if they fit into his plans. Do you think there'll be no one leaving as well?
Yes, I think yes. Probably only players that are totally out from the project. So I'm thinking players like Emerson Palmieri or this kind of players could leave the club in the coming days if some good proposal will arrive. But at the moment, there is nothing advanced. So he will look at the players and he will decide for sure. I don't expect anything big to happen also with Olivier Giroud. I see people saying, okay, there is this possibility here in Italy. They mentioned Juventus because Juventus are looking for a striker, and it's true that Pirlo loves Giroud. So Pirlo would love to have Giroud as a striker, but at the moment Chelsea are not allowing him to leave the club 6 months before the end of his contract. So at the moment he's so quiet. Also without Lampard, who is a big fan of Giroud, the situation for him is staying at Chelsea.
Okay, then Fabrizio, thank you so much for your time and your knowledge and insight. Once again, we really do appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Always big pleasure, and see you soon.
Hello, who's that?
Hello. Flav. Is that James?
Yeah. Who's this? What's this?
Do you know what time? What is it? This is Snickers. This is the Snickers protein fan line.
Big time.
It's here to give you guys a chance to let off some transfer steam, isn't it?
Absolutely.
There are a lot of worried people out there at the moment. People have got some gripes, some worries, and some troubles about the transfer window, Jim.
That's right. Of course, as you should know by now, we will be live on deadline day, and we want you to get involved using the hashtag Fanline on Twitter. Use that hashtag and we could be looking at some of your problems on deadline day. Let's have a look at some that we've been sent this week.
It's obviously been a pretty slow transfer window. It's not been a hell of a lot going on, but I wanted to find out what you guys think are some of the key moves that could happen with this upcoming transfer deadline, and you know how some teams could really strengthen their position and potentially go on to win the league.
For me, the big move that's going to happen on transfer deadline day is Jesse Lingard to West Ham. I think that'd be a fantastic signing. West Ham are absolutely flying this season. Souček has been a revelation. And I think added a bit of quality in Lingard, who knows how to get things done at Man United, has got Champions League pedigree. I think that makes complete sense. Around £14 million or a loan with an option to buy it. Lingard to West Ham.
There you go, done deal from Flav there. I'm going to go with Christian Eriksen's been a big talking point the whole window for me. And I think I saw that Leicester were kind of linked with him. It looks like it's cooled off at the moment, but I would love to see that happen because I think Leicester are going under the radar in terms of winning the whole thing this year, winning the Premier League. So if they've got Eriksen in their armoury, I think he could be a big part of it. And I think it could help Leicester really have a go at the title. We asked Fabrizio Romano this exact question because he knows a lot more than us. This is what he had to say. Look, we're in the last week. There's only a few days to go. Deadline day on February 1st, of course. Are there any rumours that you can give us? Any players that you see? Keep an eye on this guy, keep an eye on that guy for the coming days as we get closer to that deadline day?
It's really a quiet situation in general with big clubs like Manchester City are not signing anyone, and the same from Manchester United, and the same probably with Liverpool. We know about the centre-back, but at the moment they are convinced to stay with this team. I would keep an eye on Everton, on the situation of Zirkzee, this guy from Bayern Munich, who is an amazing striker, really so talented, and Everton are fighting with Parma in Serie A to sign this player. You would say, how it's crazy that Everton are fighting with Parma. Why? Just because Parma are offering him to be a starter, to be a regular player here in the Serie A, to show his skills, also if he's a young player. So they are open to make him play, and the player is thinking about it. Everton have a different project for him, like possible he stays, then he could go on loan. They would decide for a new way for him because he won't be a starter immediately, obviously, with Carlo Ancelotti at Everton, but they want him for the future. So let's see for Zirkzee, because I think that this could also affect the future of Moise Kean at Paris Saint-Germain, because he would be back at Everton, but if Everton go for Circe, we will see what's going on for Kean at the end of the season, because he's on simple loan on Paris Saint-Germain. So I would mention Circe as an interesting transfer for the coming days, and obviously Dele Alli, because in my opinion would be the biggest one if he would go to Paris Saint-Germain.
Next up on Fanline, it's a familiar face. He's had a tough week.
Rory Jennings.
So it's official. Thomas Tuchel is the new Chelsea manager. It's obviously sad to say goodbye to Frank Lampard, because he is the club's greatest ever player and we will forever love him. But the king is dead. Long live the king. I hope that this works out. I mean, looking at the track record, hearing the words of Leonardo, talking about Tuchel does make me slightly concerned how this one will end. But for now, we have to just give him our full unilateral support. Tuchel, we're totally with you, mate. Fingers crossed, we see some silverware.
Wow. On the surface, I think a lot of people will watch that video and go, well done, Rory, you're being really positive. Not me, Flav,
Yep.
Not me. He seems
Not
a bit
me.
broke. Look at the body language there. Slightly concerned at this.
Charlie, can you just bring the still up of the last frame of that video, please? Do it now. Right, there you see
Yeah,
it, Jim.
yeah.
What can you see there, Jim?
I see a broken man, a broken fan.
I see a man who needs Fanline help. That's what I say. And what I would say to him is, look, don't worry about it. We know your legend, leader, and all that stuff. Frank Lampard, he's gone, and you loved him. He's gone, but football is a cycle. You just got to get on that wheel and ride it out.
Yeah, I think that, one word comes to mind here, time. I think that's what Rory needs. It needs time to get over this, but also at the same time, admit when you're struggling, Rory. It's important. That's why you've spoken to us on Fanline, which is superb, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to talk to each other. We've got to help each other through these kind of things. So I know you're putting on a brave face right now, but Rory, I see you. I see through you, and I can see that you need a little bit of help. You're going to be okay. Keep that chin up.
Tell you what, Jim. Tuchel ain't a bad manager.
He's all right,
He's not a bad manager.
Well, people said that about Emery.
Yeah, I mean, look, all I would say is that Tuchel he's won an FA Cup in Germany. He won
yeah.
And he got them to the Champions League final once at Dortmund.
Yeah, look, I think
and he won some trophies in PSG as well.
Sure, the biggest thing I think to remember is look, if it doesn't work out, you get another one.
You can always get another one. So don't worry, Rory. All right? You'll always get another one. That's it for this week. The No Nonsense Transfer Show, powered by Snickers Protein, is done, and we'll be back with you on Transfer Deadline Day on Monday, won't we, Jim?
That's right, February the 1st, 7 till 11 p.m. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you are, and also make sure you click the notification bell as well so that you know when we are going live. But if you have got your diary out right now, 7 p.m, February 1st, me and Flav, we're bringing the whole gang back. We'll see you there.
Oh, one more thing, Jim. Snickers Protein, 30% less sugar and more protein than your standard Snickers.
Write that down as well.